Hi there, welcome to Long Distance Review. As you can see, I've changed my surroundings, experimenting with different areas to film in at the moment. As you can see, I'm a massive nerd, so apologies for that. This episode is a bit of a special episode. Not special, but it's what I'm doing is I'm focusing on a new band, and I think we should all support new artists. So I'll do my bit, and it's nice to sort of focus on a brand new band instead of an established band. So this band are called My Own Co-Pilot. They were formed in 2017, and they are a two-piece band. Members Michael Kaczynski and Dennis Semenyuk. Apologies if any of the pronunciation was off there. Yeah, sorry. Anyway, Michael is the instrumentalist for the band. He does all the songwriting, all the instruments, and Dennis is the vocalist and lyricist. What's interesting about this band is that they are a transatlantic band, let's say. Michael is based in Gothenburg in Sweden, and Dennis is from the United States. So the background to it is really that Michael wrote all these songs and then went on a global hunt for a vocalist and found Dennis. So thanks to the world of modern technology and you know everything we have at our fingertips nowadays, you can do projects like this that wouldn't get off the ground otherwise. So it's great that we can do all these things nowadays. And yeah, this is their debut EP entitled Textures. The sound of My Own Co-Pilot. They are, let's say, a post-hardcore, emo, with elements of punk thrown in there, I think. If you think back to bands like Thrice and Thursday, brand new, also I can hear elements of like early Jimmy Eat World, even elements of Weezer and like Refused as well. Things like that. I think there's a lot of that thrown in there. My immediate thought when I first put the EP on is the vocals really. They hark back to the golden era, let's say, of post-hardcore and emo, the early 2000s. I think also what this band do well is the loud-quiet dynamic. Now, it's something that a lot of bands put into their music. New metal covered it very well, where there's but post-hardcore has a lot of it involved because of the way the vocals work. You get clean vocals and the more screamy hardcore vocals, and the music fits around that really well. I like the loud quiet dynamic, and I think they showcase it really well. Opening track on called Exit You, they showcase it brilliantly with a really powerful punky chorus and the more cleaner, airy vocals on the verses. But the power in this band for me lies in the more hardcore elements of it. I think when this band really get going is when the hardcore elements come in. Me, I prefer the screamy vocals on this over the clean vocals. It's not that the clean vocals are bad, I think it's more of a personal taste. I don't particularly like the vocals which can be a bit whiny and a bit nasally, very airy. And it doesn't detract from the songs, don't get me wrong, it's a real minor criticism. I think it's really just my own personal ear. I never really liked those kind of vocals, which was all over the early 2000s, you know, like the brand new vocals and even like Weezer's vocals every now and again. But these songs, what I do like about these songs is they're much more punchy and driven than a lot of the emo songs that, you know, which can end up whiny and a bit saccharine and a bit sappy. Whereas these have got a lot of drive and a lot of punch to them, which I think is really thanks to the sort of songwriting and the arrangement by Michael. And just say for one person to craft all this is a really incredible achievement, and he should be very proud of himself. I really enjoy they do these sort of layered vocals on a lot of these songs where Dennis's vocals are layered on top of each other in different styles, if you know what I mean. It gives it a much rawer, rougher edge than what could just be a bland, boring verse. There's other great songs on it. I really like the bass groove on the second track called When the Missing Return. I think that's got a really cool groove to it. What there is about this EP that, you know, it could be a nostalgic EP in a way, and it could be seen as a throwback to the early days, but there's enough here to keep the listener interested. And I think for a 4-track EP, that's really good. As a taster to the band, that's great. I think if it's a 12 tracks of this, the loud, quiet dynamic and the could become a bit tiresome. But I think there's a lot on here to really get sort of hook the listener in. But I think personally, the band become a lot more interesting when they push their sound further. The last 2 tracks on here, only a 4-track EP, but the final 2 songs is where they have a lot more ideas. A song called This Crying has got a piano inclusion on it, which becomes really interesting. My favourite song on the album, though, is the final song called Remembering. The drum work on that song is brilliant, and I love the way at the end the cymbals crash all around the vocals, almost drown out the vocals just before the end, which ends really abruptly and perfectly, if you know what I mean. Really interesting EP this. As a taster for a band, I think this has got great foundations for a good project. I think if they push the elements, like I said, on Remembering and This Crying, I think those 2 songs are where this band can go further. The more punchy, immediate numbers, like the first 2 songs, are all good, but can be seen as a bit of a throwback maybe. Whereas I think its own ideas can flourish more if they focus on pushing the boundaries a little bit further, which I think they will. Really interesting EP though, and I recommend you check it out. Should support new bands, like I keep saying, so I'll put a link in the bio to this band, and yeah, check them out. Thanks very much for watching. I'll be back soon with a more regular album release, let's say. But for now, thanks. Cheers for watching.